Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Puckin' Deep, 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 Deep. Oh,
Yeah, I
sorry.
like
Anyway,
that. That's good.
with your host, the awesome Mr. Pearlo Wisdom. How you doing, Pearlo?
Doing very well, my friend. Yep,
Yeah,
fucking deep back at her again. Check out our previous ones. You like getting in deep on the NHL. This is the place to be, my
that's right,
friend.
man. That's right. Smash that like and subscribe because guess what, folks? We got the great, the awesome, the one and only Lyle Richardson in here. Yay! How you doing, Lyle? Yeah. Wait, just throw money. Just throw money.
Just yep, yep.
Yeah,
Just send it all my way, baby. Yep.
There you
Hungry
go.
for fame. Hungry for fame.
How you doing, brother?
Doing okay, all things considered. As I told you before we started,
Yep.
been battling the cold for a few days, but
Okay.
I've taped a Tylenol to it, as they say in hockey, and grinding it out. So
There
yeah,
you go.
right on.
ready to go. Yeah.
He's the consummate professional,
It's gonna
folks. I'm
sweat
here
it
to tell
out,
you.
mucking and
He's gonna
grinding
sweat
this
it out.
morning.
That's
Oh
right.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, all right. So here we go, folks. Puck in deep. We're gonna broach quite a few different subjects here since we got Lyle on, and he's got quite the rumor mill going. And there's a lot of adversity going on in the NHL right now. There's a lot of good things going on, some historical things going on, like with Matthew Schaefer, and then we're also dealing with some injuries piling up now for some of these clubs. And we're also starting to talk about some adversity and some teams who are playing maybe where we thought they were going to be and teams where we thought they should be and they aren't. So let's get flying here. Let's get rocking and rolling. The first thing I want to talk about right off the hop is this: we're getting really close to some rosters being announced for
Hmm.
they're starting to look at, there's Olympics coming up, we got World Juniors coming up, we got the IIHF, we got the CHL and the USA Prospect Challenge coming up. There's a lot of rosters out there, and I saw an interview with Bill Guerin. He's the vice president or the GM of USH or USA Hockey, and he's like, yeah, there's a lot of guys we're looking at. So I'm gonna ask you guys, let's start off with you, Lyle. Let's start with the Canadian team. Who do you think are some of the guys that should be on that roster? Let's just say that.
Well, I don't think it's any surprise if I say right off the bat that Sidney Crosby's going to be there. Nathan McKinnon, of course, is going to be there. Connor McDavid, of course, is going to be there. Cale Makar, you just go down through, and I mean, there's just a long list. I mean, basically, look at the Four Nations face-off team from back in
Yeah.
February.
Yep.
I would say that, two-thirds of that team, the guys on that team are going to be there in Italy in February,
Yeah. Yeah.
for Canada. It's what's for me is going to be interesting is there's going to be some players who were not on the Four Nations, obviously, who are making a very strong case to be on Team Canada for the Olympics. And I'm talking, of course, younger guys like Connor Bedard of the Chicago Blackhawks, Macklin Celebrini of the San Jose Sharks, Nick Suzuki of the Montreal Canadiens. Those are all guys who didn't make the cut last year for whatever reason, but they're making very, very strong cases to be on the team this year. And it'll be interesting to see who they end up beating out. Sam Bennett, who was on the team for the Four Nations, kind of off to a bit of a slow start, which is to be expected. I mean, if you're the Florida Panthers and you're coming
Right.
off three straight Stanley Cup Finals, three straight shortened off seasons, it's going to take a bit of time early in the season for you to get up to speed. Now, I wouldn't rule Sam Bennett out because he is that kind of a tenacious guy who knows how to win and has that
Yeah.
resume to prove it with a Conn Smythe Trophy. But again, it's going to be interesting to see. I think the next few weeks is probably going to really
Yep.
determine who's
Yep.
going to be there. But
Yeah.
yeah, all the usual big Canadian stars, though. Yeah, the big question for me is who the goaltender is going to be because Logan Thompson, excuse me, has the best stats of any Canadian goaltender in the National Hockey League, but some of the coaching staff who had him before, and talking about like Bruce Cassidy and of course his previous coach, um, they just don't like him. There's
Okay.
just a thing that, yeah, they don't think that he's good in the room. And I think
Okay.
swallow your damn pride. If he's the best goalie you've got, you go with the guy who's going to get you the win. Because
You know.
Jordan Binnington played really well last season, but he's off to a really poor start. Sam Montembeault, who was the third goalie for Canada in the Four Nations, he's not having a good start. Aiden Hill
No.
is injured,
Yeah.
so
It
yeah,
kind of.
I
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
say it's going to wind up being a matter of attrition, and Logan Thompson's going to have to get the call.
Okay. All right, Perlo. You think anybody standing out for you other than the usual suspects for the Canadian team?
Well, I don't think I think they have no. They got to look at the kids that are playing. Chicago and Celebrini. I mean, that Celebrino
Yeah.
guy. He's a superstar. He's a
Yeah.
superstar. Simple as
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Uh, he's playing one of the top 5 players in the league right now. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, I'm with all due respect to Sam Bennett, I love him and I know he's a playoff performer and all that kind of stuff like that. But if you're taking him over Celebrini right now, some
Is
name
that a dome
alone,
scratcher there for you,
that kid is he's going to be on. I'm going to make that
Yeah,
prediction. He will
because
be
that's what
on.
I was gonna. That's you guys touched on exactly what I was gonna talk about. The
Yeah.
consideration for Connor Bedard, the consideration for Macklin Celebrini.
Hmm.
You have to give one of those two guys at
If not
least,
both. Yeah.
if
Yeah.
not both, if not
Mhm.
both. You
Mhm.
have to do that. You have to do that. Okay.
And as
Converse.
far as the goaltending issue is concerned, the level of how much DeBoer and Cassidy despise Thompson is just, I don't think you're going to get over it. I don't care. They'll just go on the fact that Binnington's a big game goaltender and he's gonna be there. Like I said, I don't know the situation or what he did, or what he said, or how he talked to the coaches or whatever. Obviously, I don't think he's a team guy. One of the greatest goaltender, I think the greatest goaltender of all the time. I've heard from several players that he was a horrible teammate, but um, he stops pucks. I mean, what do you, wasn't that like in the back in the day? Like Terry Sawchuk was an a-hole too, and there was a lot of guys back then. Everybody just kind of just knew. Patrick Waugh was never known for his niciness either. You
Dominic
know,
Hasek.
Dominic Hasek. Yeah, that's what
Dominic
I'm
Don't touch
saying.
Hasek, yeah,
Dominic
don't
yeah.
touch
Hasek
his nail.
was
Don't touch his nail clippers. Don't touch
Dominic
his nail
Hasek.
clippers. You go ballistic.
Players said that he was the worst teammate ever, but everybody kind of knew that back then. They were just
Right.
goalies were weird and stopped the puck, and that's it. Where did that go? Who cares if he's a jerk?
I mean, I
Tom
don't hear that
Barrasso
many
was
good things.
also Tom
Yeah, that's what
Barrasso
I
was another
heard.
guy.
Yeah. I hear the
Yeah,
same things about Bob. The Bob's a really odd duck.
yeah,
Yeah, look, almost all goalies are odd ducks.
almost all of them.
Almost
I
all of them,
played
right?
goal, so I know. Yeah, we're a bit
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. There you go. There
Okay,
you
right.
go.
I worked with one for 5 years. Okay, I'm telling you, I know
Yeah,
goalies are a little bit, right? It takes a little bit of a different mindset to want to stand there and let somebody put 100-mile-an-hour slap shots go into your head. I mean, yeah, okay. Thank you, no. Okay. So, with that being said, what do we think about conversely for the United States? I mean, we're just going to touch on Canada and the United States here just briefly because it's starting to get to be that point in time in the year now where we're starting to consider who potentially is going to be on the roster. And I got to be honest with you, I think you got to put, speaking of a Chicago player, I think you got to put Spencer Knight, in consideration for goal for the United States.
Well, it's worth consideration, unquestionably. I think we all know who the starter is. We
Well,
know who
yeah.
your starter's going to be.
Well, yeah.
You obviously you go with the three-time Vezina Trophy winner, Connor Hellebuck, but
Hello.
Spencer Knight is making a good case though for
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah.
I think he at least deserves consideration. But I would also say, as with Canada, what we saw the Four Nations, most of that roster is going to be showing up in Italy. There's not going to be a whole lot of difference, but you may see some younger guys get in there, or some guys that will make the case, while others might drop off. So that's
Yeah.
what's going to be interesting is when we see the final selections, is who makes the cut from the Four Nations and who doesn't, and who
Who
gets
doesn't?
supplanted by a
Yeah.
rising young talent.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Perlo, you got anybody that's kind of standing out there for you? I mean,
My problem with this is I have a difficult time knowing who's on what country. To tell you the honest truth, I very seldom pay attention to the countries. Uh, so I'm
okay.
kind of at a loss right now. It's just I do it all the time. I'll mention somebody's name. It should be on Canada or it should be on the United States, and they're like, he doesn't
I
play
will
No,
anymore.
say,
he
I
should
will
be on
say
Sweden.
this.
I will
I
say
will.
this. I hope that Hughes injury is
Mhm.
healed by the time the Olympics come because that's
And
unfortunate.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step over there, Perlo, as well. But excellent point about Jack Hughes. Of course, they're hoping he will be back. That in that timeline, he should be recovered and back in time for the Olympics. The other one that I'm worried about though is Austin Matthews because he's
Yeah.
been plagued by it's a lower body injury now. He just hasn't looked right since the start of the season, and we know that he's had the nagging injury throughout last season. In fact, I mean, it was such a point. Like, yes, he played in the Four Nations last year, played very well. He was back checking, except for that one time.
Yeah, that
His
one
back
time.
checking was just
Yeah.
outstanding. But I look at a couple of those scoring chances he had in that gold medal game, especially in overtime. And no disrespect to Bennington, because he absolutely robbed him twice. But I
Yeah.
couldn't help but wonder if he had been 100% instead of having that wrist injury that had been nagging. If he'd been able to get that little bit extra zip on that shot, maybe the outcome of that
Might
game
have.
is different.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now here he is. He's kind of not looking like himself. People are saying, well, that's because he misses Mitch Marner, who's now in Vegas. But I think it's more than that. And again, he's been been sidelined now for a week with injury. He started skating again, I guess today. But that's going to be a guy to keep an eye out for the Americans. And also, you've got to worry about the Kachucks, especially Matthew Kachuk, because he's only going to be back in action starting in January. Brady's
Well,
Yeah.
supposed to be, yeah, they're expecting Brady to be back in action within the next week, which is outstanding because he had surgery on his thumb to
yeah.
repair his tendons in his thumb, but he should be back in action probably by the end of next week. But Matthew isn't due back until January, and he's got to get back up to
He's
speed.
skating.
He is skating.
He
Skating
is
is one
skating.
thing.
Right,
Game
right, right.
game game shape is a
Oh yeah, no, I
whole
know.
different box of
No, 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 no,
frogs.
I know.
So
But they're
yeah,
saying he might be back a couple weeks sooner than what they're saying.
and if he can, that would be great for the
Right.
Americans because the sooner that he can get back and get himself back into game shape, the better it'll be
Yeah.
when February rolls around.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because we talked about
I'll
last.
give you one though. A guy that probably should end up there if he isn't there already is Logan Cooley. He's been playing pretty excellent
Yeah, yeah,
in
he's having a
Utah.
terrific start.
I think you got to really take a good look at him. Yeah, also, Carlson's been injured as well. Like basically the storyline with the U.S. team is there's so many injuries right now. For Canada, I forgot a guy that I want to put something out there that I'd rather see Chikrin in the lineup the way he's playing right now than Theodore, to tell you the honest truth. That would be one of my choices that I would do. I
Okay.
think Theodore really has
Uh,
slipped a lot, and he's kind of going on a name right now more than anything. And
right.
Chikrin's putting up he's got a big shot from the point, great for the power play,
Yeah.
a little bigger, can play a more solid game.
A little
I'd
bit
be
more
looking at
physical
that.
too.
But I like Logan Cooley, especially if one of those shoes or whatever can't make it or aren't able to make it. But
Okay. Yeah, man.
No, good points,
Okay.
definitely.
Yep. All
Yep.
great stuff, man. I mean, see, this is why we love pucking deep here, man, because we dive into the deep end of the puck, or
yeah,
or
yeah,
or you don't know
fucking deep.
puck.
Yeah,
We don't
All
fuck
right.
yeah.
around.
Well, speaking of puck, we were all a little bit amazed at how Utah started off, and then now we kind of kind of dropped off
Yeah.
the edge here, and a couple of teams have started to do so. And Perlo talked about this in our not the last show, but the previous show, where we
Mhm.
talked about the whole show was all based on the fact that the condensed schedule, because of the Olympics, is
Mhm.
creating some of these younger teams that we weren't really expecting to do well, like the Anaheims, like
Mhm.
like the Penguins, like the Buffaloes and stuff like that. And we're finding them now at the top of divisions at the top of their leagues and everything like that. But they're basically playing kind of balls out because what do they got to lose at this point? Because
Hmm.
on those lower end teams, you're not going to see a lot of those guys playing in the Olympics,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? And that's kind of the point that we made with our show, and I
Hmm.
think that's a serious effect
Hmm.
on teams like Detroit, Anaheim, Chicago.
Hmm.
Those guys were not expected to be where they are currently right now in the standings, and look at where they are and look at how they're playing and look at what they're doing. You know what I mean? And I think they're just kind of basically doing exactly what Perlo said, and they're just like, hey, look, we're not going to have a lot of guys on our team that are go to the Olympic break. We're going to get 2 weeks off. Let's just go balls out and
Hmm.
play it and just lay it all out there until we get to the break.
You get 2 weeks. Yeah.
Right. And then you get 2 weeks, and then okay, now we see what we can do after that. Right.
Yep.
What do you think
Hmm.
about that, Lyle? Do you agree with that, or do you have a different theory, or are we way off base?
Well, no, no. I mean, that's certainly one consideration, obviously. For me, I still maintain that what we're starting to see is the beginning of a sea change, which, we always tend to get these where, you have these established teams for a long time and you have these other clubs that are rebuilding and rebuilding, and you don't see or think very much of them very often because they're down in the bottom of the standings. And then all of a sudden, here they come. And
Hmm.
I think that's what we're beginning to see now with the Anaheims, with San Jose, who are definitely, remember, they started off poorly this
Yeah.
Hmm.
this season, and
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
they're playing 500 hockey. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
which didn't surprise me. It was just a matter of them finding their groove. But so you look at them, you look at Utah. Yeah, Utah's gone through a bit of a rough patch right now, but I think that's just part of the whole growing pains thing. Same thing with Montreal. Montreal was red hot to start. They've
Yep.
stumbled. They've
Yep.
only had one win in their last seven, but they're 1-3-3. But nevertheless, I think that this is just part of the growing pains of what these young teams are going to go through. You have the hot start. The other teams kind of, till the other teams start kind of finding their way. You're still establishing your identity. And I'll use Montreal as an example. They ran into the Kings, they ran into the Stars, wound up lopsided defeats because they wound up against older, kind of a little bigger, more experienced teams,
Yep.
right? That when they get a lead, they know how to shut you down,
Yep.
right? They know how to grind you down. And that's the kind of hockey that you're going to see in the playoffs. So it's kind of a learning curve for them. And it's the same thing with Utah. Utah faced the same thing. The Ducks, just before their win last night, they lost three straight. And it was the same
Right.
sort of thing.
Yep.
It's all part of the growing pains. But honestly, these teams get used to them being where they are. I'll be very surprised if we see Montreal and Utah and San Jose and Detroit as well, because Detroit went through a bit of a rough patch there as well. Now they're kind of coming back up. And Anaheim, I'll be very surprised if we see them all down in the basement again, at the end of the season. This is all part of that evolution. Part of it is what, you and Perlo were saying as well, is that they know that a lot of them aren't going to have a lot of guys going to the Olympics, so they don't have to really kind of pace themselves. But at the same time, it's all part of this evolution and the growing pains that they're going through.
Yeah.
But they're
Okay.
young teams on the rise, and we're
Yeah.
poised for a sea change for the second half of this decade. The teams that were dominant in the first half, they're going to start to drop by the wayside. You're starting to see it in Toronto. Okay, you're
And Tampa
starting to
Bay.
see it with like the Rangers are kind of up and down. Like, where are they? What's their identity now? Tampa Bay started very slowly. They're starting to move back up, but how long is that sustainable? And are they going to keep rising higher, or are they going to fall off? Florida, yes, they've had injuries to key players, but at the same time, how long can they keep this going? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see how all of this affects, and of course with the compressed schedule, as you guys mentioned too, it's going to be very interesting to see how this all shakes out when we get to say mid-season.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I mean, Perlo and I talked about that very extensively, and
Yeah.
Perlo, you had made some really good points about how some of those guys are doing exactly that. They're just going all out. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I I'm a little bit. I'm on. I like what Lyle said, but there's a few. I'll go through each team. Like Anaheim's big, solid. They've been growing up. They're more mature than a lot of these teams, like Chicago and San Jose. This is a
Oh,
team
yeah,
that's
that's
been
a
built.
good point.
They went up 21 points last year,
Yeah.
right, from where they
Yeah.
were before. So I think they are a team that you're going to see maybe even make the like. I could see them making the playoffs this year. I could
Okay.
see them.
Okay. Okay.
Quinville is a great coach, great motivator. They're
Yeah.
in a place where they can surprise a lot of teams. San Jose Sharks, I think their depth is going to kill them down the road. I think after a while they're going to start falling. They don't, the kids will start getting tired. They're not going to be able to play that high. You can't do that for an 82 game season, generally speaking, especially when you have young players. But I'll say one thing: that Askarov kid, holy man,
Yeah.
we might be seeing the second coming of Hashik there. Just watch it. Watch it.
Yeah.
That guy
Oh,
is
he's
something else. I can't believe it. I am for over saves today. And in Chicago, it's the same thing with Spencer Knight. That, like you said, I would bring him. Like,
Yeah.
how do you not? This guy's playing unbelievable goaltending right now, and I don't see it changing. So Chicago might be able to hold in on that regard, but I think you're going to see them fall off a little bit this year. But I totally agree with Lyle about this is the future here. Be betting on these teams, like these teams a year, 2 years from now. This is some exciting stuff. You're going to see Chicago, Anaheim finals and stuff like that in the next 5 years. Absolutely fantastic teams.
And that's
Um,
nothing but great for the NHL.
yeah,
Oh
but
yeah.
I think the Chicago's and San Jose's. What happens with San Jose is teams didn't really have a book on them when they started doing really well, because usually when you go to San Jose, that's usually a time to go golfing. Maybe go out with the boys and stuff like that. The
Because
coach
it's a
isn't
sunny
getting you in
state.
the coach wasn't getting you in the video room and saying, let's look at the finer points in San Jose Sharks. But
Yeah.
there's been a shift, as Lyle said. And now teams, especially with how tight everything is right now,
Yeah.
San Jose is not going to be a vacation trip anymore. And if you treat it
Nope.
like that, they're going to
Nope.
take you out.
That's
So
right.
they're going to have to get in the video room, and you're starting to see it. Anaheim, they had that 3 game slide there, but that was absolutely horrible scheduling. They were playing 5 games in 8 nights,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
6 games in 9 nights. The veteran teams in the NHL aren't going to win those spots. And I thought they played extremely well. And the most
All
important
things
thing I liked
considered.
about
Yeah.
Anaheim with that is they had their head up the whole way. What I mean is they weren't down on themselves the whole way. I didn't see them sagging their heads. They still look like they believed in themselves. That's why I slammed Anaheim over Utah, which I thought would be a lot more tight, not quite as tight as that. But I think that Anaheim team is going to make it this year. I
Yeah.
think Utah is going to beat the bad teams, but have struggle with the good
Good
teams. They're
teams.
small up
Yeah.
front. Their defense is goaltending is over time. I think Utah probably falls off a little bit, and they got to work on some defense there. But that Anaheim team, I'll tell you, I'm really really high on them right
And
now.
they've got, boy, do they got some guys in the wings. Their
Yep,
prospect pool
Yeah.
looks
you would know that, Mr. Prospect guy.
amazing. I mean, with Roger McQueen being just sitting there waiting to
Mm-hmm.
come and play for you, I mean, add that to the Cutter Gauthiers. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? On Anaheim, look, I see nothing but good things for Anaheim.
Yeah,
They're
and
their
Dose
prop.
Stahl. We didn't even mention Dose Stahl. We talked about those other
Oh,
goaltenders.
yeah.
Okay, right. So there you go. So, like I
Yeah.
said, I think Anaheim's more the real deal, and I agree. I think you're going to see teams like Chicago drop off a little bit. You're going to see the Detroit's drop off a little bit. And I
Yeah,
are we going to see the Tampa Bays come back a little bit? Are we going to see the Floridas continue to try to maintain? I mean, we're seeing Boston now at the top of the division. and we
Where a
all
month ago, yeah.
okay, right. A month
Yeah.
ago, we were like, "Oh, Boston, yeah, whatever, Boston."
How many
Yeah.
times have I canceled Boston out though? Remember when Krejci got injured? And I
Exactly.
mean, there is just a spirit about that team.
Yeah.
You never can count them out. By the way,
And
Montreal, I think that's another team that I said it before. They're going to struggle down the stretch.
yeah, yeah, I think
I
they
don't
are
know if they're going
too.
to miss the playoffs, but they're going to struggle
Mm. The
because
thing that's
all the
yeah.
teams that they kicked last year, they went in and surprised the crap out of them, played really fast, and nobody saw it coming. All those teams are now going to be going to play Montreal, going, "We're taking these kids this year." You're not
Yeah,
surprised this year.
yeah,
Oh, they're not
and
going to
They
surprise
got
them.
they have a target on their back
Yeah.
this year. This is a
The
big.
one thing I'm concerned with for Montreal is just their goaltending right now. I
Oh yeah,
mean,
that too. Yeah.
Montembeau's been shaky. Last month, Dobish was the man, and he was the third star of the month because he was outstanding in goal. But he's been a little shaky now too. So for me, that's kind of the area that I'm the only real area of concern that I have so far with the injuries has hit them. It really hasn't, as long as it hasn't hit any of their core players, and that's been the one good thing is
right.
that their core players haven't been sidelined. They start losing some of their core players, then they're going to be. Then I'm going to say, yeah, then they'll be
Yeah,
in trouble.
gonna be in trouble.
But this is still a team that I think has a lot of talent.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
I as I said, I expect them to make the playoffs. Depending on, of course, injuries, but every team has them. But for me, it's the goaltending. If the goaltending stabilizes, they're going to be in much better shape.
I
But
agree.
if Dobish and Montembeau are struggling, who knows? Maybe we start seeing Jacob Fowler get called up for a couple of games, and maybe we start to see what happens there.
Wouldn't
But
be a bad thing.
yeah, but I mean,
Wouldn't be a
Montreal's
bad
one of
thing.
those teams too. When you talk about prospects, when you talk about Anaheim, I mean, has an incredibly crazy deep prospect pool, but so does Montreal.
Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
I mean, Michael
Yes, they
Hayes is going
do.
to be coming up soon. I mean,
Yeah.
Woo!
probably after this year in college. You've
Yep.
got Zhuravsky over in Russia, who is already ahead of Ivan Demidov's rookie record in the KHL last year.
Yeah.
LJ Mooney is playing. He's a small center, but he's been playing very
Yeah.
well in the college
Mhm.
ranks. So it just keeps going on and on and on. It's like, so again, yeah, we're kind of poised to see a bit of a sea change for the second half of this decade here. We're kind of poised
Okay.
on that right now. Of the
Okay.
teams, I mean, yeah, I have to agree with Perlo and listen, I'm a Montreal guy. I still believe Montreal's going to make the playoffs, but to be honest, based on the play I've seen, I think Anaheim, and I've been touting Anaheim and Utah since the start of the season in the
Yeah.
West to keep an eye on, and Montreal in the East, and maybe Detroit. But yeah, Anaheim for me, I think right now is the best of that promising young bunch
Gonna
because
have to
they're
agree.
looking really, really good.
Yes, they are. Yes,
You
they are.
got
Oh
to
my
think
God.
about Montembeau and Dovish again. Just back to my point again. Teams didn't have a book on Montembeau last year, but
No.
this year they do. And now
Yeah.
all of these guys are really going to have to fight this year. They're not going to be able to get away with it. Montreal's going to learn how to fight into the playoffs this year, and
Yeah.
we'll see if
Well,
they can. I personally think if now that I'm personally think it's going to be close that they
mhm.
make it or not. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't. And I
Oh,
said
yeah.
that at the beginning of the year too.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean I don't think they're a great team. I do.
No, no.
And I think they're going to be fantastic down the road. But this year was going to be really tough for them. And
But,
Hughes said that himself before the season
mhm.
started. He
Yeah.
said this year everybody's going to be out for us. We're not getting backup goaltenders anymore. We're getting number one goaltenders, and guys are going to be out for us. So
That's
we'll see
right.
how they do.
But the one point I will make just to finish that off, though, Montreal, though, to be fair, Perlo, they had to fight to get into the playoffs last year.
Yeah, they did.
They were dead last in the end of November, and they fought their way back from pretty much the dead over the rest of the season. And they didn't make it into the last game of the regular
Last game.
season.
Yeah.
But the
So,
difference was nobody saw them coming last year. See,
which, to be
they were
fair to your point,
surprising teams.
yeah.
This year, they're not surprising teams.
But the
It's
Okay.
thing
going
that
to
I will
be a
say, though,
different type of fight this year.
but the
This is
thing
going to be a
I'm
fight against teams that know who you are and they
sure.
want to beat you and they want to kill the kids and they want to do that. So this is a different type of fight. We'll see.
Sure, but my point we're trying to be is that they learned from the experience of last year. So
Sure.
this isn't going to be something new, right? They're
Mhm.
facing adversity and they're already saying it. They're already saying it in that room. It's like, we've been here before. You know, it is a
Yeah.
different level. Yes, I agree with you,
It's a
but
different level.
it's not like something they haven't faced before. So,
Okay.
but I do agree to you though. It's not going to be the cakewalk that we were starting to think it was going to be, a month ago.
Yeah,
So,
I think it is different than before because this is now you got to do it and everybody knows you're coming.
but they
That's
also have
the
a deeper
difference.
roster compared to last season as
True.
well. They have a
All
deeper
right,
roster.
you can go Montreal forever. We'll have to talk. I'll Twitter you about it. I'll Twitter you about it. I
Okay.
haven't
All right.
Twittered
I'm
you for a
throwing
while.
the axe down. I'm throwing the axe
Yeah.
down. All
I'll
right. All
Twitter because we
right.
got
All
to
right.
get
I'm
to
a
the other
Montreal
You
stuff.
guys
guy. What
go
can
to
I
your
tell you?
corners.
We got to get to
Everybody.
the other stuff here.
I know
Everybody
my
go to your
team,
corners.
baby. I know my
I
team.
know. I know.
No, but
I
it's
know.
great though because that's why we love having you on, Lyle, because you
Mhm.
have a very deep perspective on this game that we all love, but your perspective is I mean, if you haven't noticed, we're all pretty much all on the same page here when it comes to pretty much most of these teams and most of these guys, prospects and everything else like that. For the most part, look, we all have our hearts that we have. We
Yeah.
all have our teams that, are our hearts. You know what I mean? But we're able to look at things objectively and go,
Mhm.
okay, let's remove our heart, put it on the table and go, okay, Montreal, yep, good team, gonna have some success. However, gonna struggle, issues in goal. Same thing you can say with Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? Hey, there's
Mhm.
been some improvements, but still struggling with defense, still needs some centers, still needs some goaltending, blah, 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 blah. Edmonton,
Mhm.
you can still say, hey, they got McDavid, they got Draisaitl, but really, you're losing games to Buffalo? You're getting housed by
Who picked
Buffalo?
that?
Really?
Who picked Edmonton to be where they are right now?
You did.
Nobody. Did
I
Oh,
you?
did.
Perlo did. Yes,
Oh, you did.
Perlo did.
Oh,
Yes, he
early in the
did.
Who picked
season.
Toronto? Who picked Toronto to be where they are right now?
You did.
Me.
You did.
I
Right?
bet Toronto to miss the playoffs this year.
Can I just interject there for a second? With
Please.
Toronto, I have to say, um, I couldn't get over some of the analysis of the team coming into the regular season from some folks in Toronto, because they looked at that team and they said, "Yeah, we think this team has more depth than last year's team." And it's like, "Are you kidding?
Oh.
Are you
Oh.
kidding?" They're like, yeah, we lost Marner. We lost Marner. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
but we've got more talents, more depth throughout the roster, so we're
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you're not.
Let me guess.
You're not better.
You
You're
got
absolutely.
Michelli, who was a healthy scratch in Utah last year. You
Yeah.
got Waugh, who's a slow player, fourth liner probably most on a lot of teams right now. I know. I heard it. I had people DMing me. I thought I was going to have to do Marner and leave because that's how bad I was getting. The stuff the vitriol I was getting for saying Toronto may miss the playoffs next year.
But
Woo.
Look who we are.
reality
Look
is
where we
biting them
are.
in the butt right now. Reality, yeah, and it's yeah.
You
I
don't
don't
just
know if you
replace
guys
100 points like that.
you
It's
You
don't.
know what I
it's not
mean?
even
You
that they're
just
a
don't.
bad team, but you know that when you realize in a room that you weren't as good as last year and your whole point is to win the cup, how hard that is mentally. You're seeing it with Matthews. You're seeing it with these guys. They know they're going around the room going, "We're not as good as last year.
Mm,
What are we going to do here?" You know.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
Well, the
anyways,
realities.
you got more stuff to talk about. So
Yeah.
let's go.
The reality is set in. Let's just say the reality
Yeah.
is set in
Reality
Toronto.
is
Right.
setting in.
Yep.
But the last thing I want to touch on is this, and that's the emergence of some of the rookies that we're seeing. Like we've already touched on it. We've already touched on, the Celebrini. We've touched on that, but I want to touch a little bit on Matthew Schaefer. He had an historic night the other night. First game-winning goal, the youngest game-winning goal. He beat Sidney Crosby by like 40 days or something crazy like that, right? So now I've had the distinct honor and privilege and advantage of actually speaking to this young man, but I want to get both of your takes on, would you put him as rookie of the year? And I'm going to start with you, Perlo. Would you put Schaefer as rookie of the year right now?
I mean, I don't think you can. I don't think you can not. Demidov isn't really piling on like a lot of people thought he would this year. Who else is really in the stratosphere to be able to win this year? Um, it's either him. I don't think there's anybody else right now. Part of it is that a lot of the rookies that they thought were going to be like bombshell are not falling off. But the fact of the matter is, he's playing top minutes there in the island, and I'm just going to say again, when I talked about Patrick Waugh before the season and why I thought, even though I didn't like the Islanders roster, watch out for them because Patrick Waugh is an amazing coach. And people that say otherwise, well, you're starting to see you're wrong. He's fantastic, and I think he would be absolutely huge for a guy like Schaefer. But I have this thing on me that is he going to be able to, like, he's doing things you just keep on questioning it, but he keeps on answering it. I don't know if is he going to be able to keep up playing this, a kid like this. I'll tell you what, if he does this for the whole year, he not only you'll be talking about him for rookie of the year, you'll be talking about him on another trophy out there. So he's like, you get an Islanders team that nobody expected to make the playoffs. They actually make the playoffs, and he's like their leading scorer or close to it. How do you not consider him? Forget about rookie of the year. How do you not consider him for the Norris? If there wasn't a fellow named McCarr out there who's the best player in the world, Jack Hughes. I mean, they will give Norris's to players that don't make the playoffs. They've already did it with Carlson. It's happened, right. But you might be able to consider him. So if I'm going to say that rookie of the year, I can't see anybody else off the top of my head. Am I wrong, Lyle? Like, is there another player even close right now?
Nope. I agree with you 100%. If he can maintain what he's been doing for the rest of this season, even if the Islanders don't make the playoffs,
yeah,
this guy's a lock. Right now from where I'm sitting, as you said, he's playing top pairing minutes. He's 18 years old. He's playing top pairing minutes. I keep waiting for the decline to happen, and it's still early in the season. I mean, we get to midseason, maybe we'll start to see a drop off. But if we do see a drop off, I don't think it'll be by much. No. I think what we're seeing is what you're going to get from this kid. Yeah. And what continues to amaze me is that he missed over half of last season with a broken collarbone.
4 months.
Yeah. He missed half of last season, and he's out there playing like he's a seasoned veteran. I mean, it's impressive, absolutely impressive to see.
Yeah.
And I've sat there and I've said it before. I mean, if you know your Islanders history, and I think all of us have been around long enough to remember the Islanders' glory days. Yeah, who was the foundation player? Quick pop quiz. Who was the foundation player of that dynasty?
Potvin.
Yes.
I wore number 5.
He was their first round draft pick in 1973, and he was the foundation on which they built their dynasty. Absolutely. Now, will the Islanders build another dynasty? Dynasties are hard to build. Could they build a cup contender with him as a foundation piece? Depends. But he's certainly looking like a foundation piece, very much like a Denny Potvin was.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's other really terrific young rookies out there. I mean, Demidov's been a bit streaky, but I expected that. Beckett Sinek is playing very well for Anaheim. You talk about
Is it Sinek or
Seneke?
Seneke, yeah. He's played very well. You got
there's that Pittsburgh kid, Kindle
as well. Yeah. And you've got Snuggerud there in St. Louis is having a horrible season, but he's one of their few bright spots, though. It's been his play. Oliver Kapanen for Montreal. Just pulled up the stats here quickly. Yeah, he's fourth in scoring for among rookies right now.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. So there are some good players there, but let's be honest. Schaefer right now is head and shoulders above them all.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
He is definitely the lock for the Calder. As you said, he won't get the Norris. It would be a hell of a story if he did, but as you said, Cale Makar is kind of the lock for that.
Yeah.
But maybe he gets some votes for the Hart Trophy too. Maybe. could be asking a bit
Okay.
much,
If they
but
got him in there, yeah. I mean,
right?
yeah.
I like that. I like that was the heat miser jaw inflection that Lyle was doing there.
If I'm wrong about San Jose and they keep on competing the way they are, even if they just come close to the playoffs, Askarov will be another
He
guy
could
that
be in the
would be there for
conversation too.
Okay.
sure.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely,
My whole
absolutely.
thing with
Yep.
Schaefer is this. I
Hmm.
think he is going to be able to maintain because of that 4 months that he didn't play.
Yeah.
I just have
Mhm.
that. I I have that feeling. I just have that feeling because we've seen rookies come in who take the league by storm, and then, like you said, by mid-season they're huffing and puffing, right? Because they're not used to playing that many games. They're not used to doing them back to backs like that. Let's face it, when they're in the juniors, they only play on the weekends. You know what I mean? And then
Well, not
well,
really.
not they're getting a little bit better now, where they're putting games now more during the week and stuff
He
like
gives
that.
you an aura that he's not going to stop. That's the
And
thing.
Mm.
see, that's why
He's
that
got an aura of this is going not going to stop. That's
see,
where I
Perlo,
see.
you're reading my
If
mind
I
here,
had to
brother.
bet on it, I'd say he's not going to stop. He may
Right.
slow down a tad, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to like have to be down on the go down to the minors or go
Yeah,
down to
no,
No,
the
I
God,
don't
no,
minors.
think
no.
he's going to slow down. I
Yeah.
think what's going to happen is that the league is going to catch up to him.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Okay.
A lot of teams haven't faced him yet, so
Right. And
that could factor into it too. But
I,
yeah, it'll
I
be
that's
very
kind of
surprised.
where,
Let's just say we
yeah.
can all agree it'll be very surprising if he makes a significant drop off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. I'll buy that. I'll buy that. All
I'd
right.
be very
Okay.
surprised. Yeah.
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 All right. Cool. All right, gentlemen. Well, I think we got a really good deep dive here. We talked about a lot of stuff. We covered a lot of things here, man. We definitely got the Montreal bit in there. But
Next
that's
time
to
I
be
won't talk
expected.
about it so
No,
much.
it's okay, brother. It's okay, man, because that's to be expected because we get you, Lyle. We get you,
Pearl's
man. You
just
know.
winding me up. He knows my weak spot. He's just
I'm
See,
winding
not
look
me
at
up.
him,
winding you
man.
up.
Yes, you are. Yes, you
No,
are.
okay, I might be, but it's not intentional.
Right,
I
right.
I just say what I think. You know me. I don't do
Oh,
That's
things
right.
to grind
That's
anybody.
why.
it's all
That's
good.
why
It's
I
all
love
good,
Believe me,
man.
this.
when I don't like the Leafs, I don't like that I don't like the Leafs. I don't I'm not talking about the team, but when I say their performance in a year, I don't like it because
Yeah.
the vitriol you get in return is just unbelievable.
It is brutal.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I
It
don't like
is
it. I
it
don't
is
Yeah.
like
brutal.
ticking people off like that, but
Mm.
I just
But
happen to
this is
do
why
that.
I love getting us together like this, especially Lyle. Thank you so much
Oh,
for
it's a pleasure,
being
guys.
here,
Yeah.
man.
Awesome having you on, Lyle, like
It
usual,
is.
man.
It really is, man. Because you have such a great perspective. We love having you on because it feels like you kind of get us. You
Well,
know.
yeah, because you guys know
Yeah.
what you're talking about. So, you know,
Oh, did you
you know,
hear that?
there
Huh?
you
That's
Yeah,
go.
we
right.
love the game, man.
That's right.
That's where
Live,
it
eat,
all
and
comes
breathe
from.
it my whole life.
You know
Yeah.
Yep, that's where
exactly.
it
And
all
I'm a
comes from.
convert. And I'm a convert. So
Converts are always welcome.
that's
We'll take
right.
the 2 points.
Yeah, right. We'll take the 2 points, right? I started with football. I actually played football in anger. That was what my sport was, and I was a huge Steelers fan, and Mike Webster was a huge um, influence on my life. But when I first started noticing or understanding things about, there was a team in Philadelphia, and Bernie Perrant was like the first guy that I gravitated to. Him and Bobby Clark. Back behind my shelf back there is a Bobby Clark street hockey stick that I got when I was a kid. Okay, so I knew about the Flyers, but I didn't start following until Lindros came. And once Lindros came, that was it. I was, I got it running through my veins now, right? So, all right,
Once
but
hockey
there
grabs a hold of you, it doesn't let
it
go.
does. Oh my gosh, it. As far as I'm concerned, it's the greatest sport out there. It's the
Yep.
hardest trophy to earn. It's the greatest second season. Uh, there is no sport out there. Look, and I watch them all, and I've played some of them, and there is no sport out there like hockey in any level, shape, or form. There's no sport out there like hockey, and that's what we love, and
Yeah.
that's why we're doing Puck and Deep. Perlo,
Agreed.
tell the folks where we can get all your great stuff, man, especially with the ice guys and all the great stuff that you're doing over there, man. Tell all the folks where we can get you.
Well, I'll be on the Ice Guys tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, Monday and Wednesdays, voted the best NHL podcast in North America by fans, by people. So you can catch me on there. I also do a show called Rico and Perlo's House of NHL Picks at 11 p.m. Eastern most nights, but I'll be on a betcast tonight with that Ice Guys, with those Ice Guys people. You can come check me out on there. And you can get all my content at Perlo's NHL POW on Twitter. You become part of my community. You get early picks and little tidbits on how best to manage your bankroll and help yourself not get into a trap of not using your finances properly and making money. So you can go catch me at Perlo's NHL POW. And of course, you'll catch me on here again. Puck in Deep will be, make sure you're sending this out to your friends. This is the fine content you get here. You get to have Lyle Richardson, who I, by the way, was a lot of my knowledge came from reading him in the hockey news. So thanks for coming on, Lyle.
Hey,
Yeah, man.
my pleasure, guys.
See, so that's a great segue. Lyle, aside from the hockey news, where can we get all your great stuff?
You can also get my stuff at spectorshockey.net. I also write for Bleacher Report, the NHL, obviously, because if I wrote for something else, I wouldn't know what I was talking about. And if you read German, you can also see my column with Ice Hockey News. And here in little Prince Edward Island, Canada, I also write for my hometown paper, the Prince Edward Island Guardian, column in there every 2 weeks. So that's where you will find me. And of course, occasionally I will be popping up here as well to offer
You got it.
my unique insights and defend my heads to the death. So there you
And that, folks, is why Lyle is on this show.
go.
Right there. That's
Oh,
why.
the mask of impartiality just slipped. There it went. It's totally gone.
You can come
Folks, I'm
back
gonna.
and have me listen to me crap on my Oilers constantly.
Oh
Oh,
boy.
we'll sign up
Woof.
for that.
Woof.
I
We'll
Yeah.
already
sign
did
up for
that.
that. Yeah,
The
right.
Oilers rant. Go check out the Oilers
Yeah,
rant on.
right.
Mm.
Thank you all very much for tuning in and checking us out, man. Go hit the like and subscribe button. You can catch me on X at RNJ_media, and you can catch all the great stuff that we do over on our YouTube channel. Please be sure to go over there and check all that great stuff out. We will catch you all on the next episode of Puck in Deep.